Alright, let's dive into a topic that so many people have been buzzing about. Almost every single day, I get asked the same question over and over again: what's the next big cryptocurrency? It's no surprise, people are fascinated by the stories of Bitcoin millionaires, the tales of someone who bought Shiba Inu as a joke and somehow managed to pay off their mortgage, or the legends of folks who invested a tiny amount and saw life-changing returns. This whole space feels like a modern-day gold rush. Everyone's searching for that one hidden gem, that rare opportunity to get in at the ground floor before it takes off and skyrockets in value. One of the names that keeps coming up in these conversations is Pi Network. People want to know what it is, how it works, and whether it has the potential to become the next Bitcoin, Ethereum, or even bigger. So let's break it down, but instead of overcomplicating it with heavy tech jargon, I'll keep it simple and easy to understand. With Bitcoin and many other cryptocurrencies, mining requires expensive and powerful hardware. These machines compete to solve complex mathematical puzzles, and in doing so, they secure the network and verify transactions. But here's the catch: it eats up a massive amount of electricity. This is why Bitcoin mining is often criticized for being energy-intensive, with mining farms consuming as much power as entire countries. Now, Pi Network decided to flip this entire concept on its head. Instead of relying on brute computing power and endless energy consumption, the team behind Pi, which, by the way, was created by a group of Stanford graduates, wanted to make a cryptocurrency that was accessible to absolutely anyone with a phone. Their solution? A new kind of system for verifying transactions that doesn't demand energy-hungry mining. Instead, it relies on something called a trust graph. In plain English, it's like a social network of trust, where people vouch for one another. So when you open the Pi app on your phone and press that little button once a day, you're not really mining in the traditional sense. What you're doing is proving that you're a real, active human being who's engaged in the network. That daily tap is your way of showing presence, and the system uses this network of engaged participants to help secure it. It's simple, it's lightweight, and it doesn't drain your phone's battery or your electricity bill. What really makes Pi stand out, though, is its explosive growth. As of now, Pi Network has attracted more than 55 million engaged members. Just think about that for a second: 55 million people. That's more than the population of many countries. This isn't just a random small group of crypto enthusiasts, it's a massive community. And in the world of networks, size matters. A phone is useless without a network to call people on, and a social media platform is worthless if no one is using it. The value of these networks is created by the number of users. And Pi has already built one of the largest user bases in the crypto world. Over the past few years, the project has rolled out several important milestones. They launched a test net, allowing simulated transactions to run and giving people a sense of how things might eventually work. They introduced the Pi browser and even created wallets for users to store their coins. And then came the enclosed Mainnet phase, where the network was live but not yet open to external trading. This step was critical. It allowed the developers to stress test the system and prepare for what comes next. Now, when we look back at Bitcoin's history, it's fascinating. Back in 2010, you could mine Bitcoin on a regular laptop. At the time, it was just a geeky hobby for tech enthusiasts. No one imagined that those who stuck with it would later find themselves holding millions of dollars worth of coins. But here's the difference: Bitcoin had an open, decentralized network from the start. Anyone could participate, and people were actually transacting with it even in those early days. Pi, on the other hand, is still in that early experimental phase. And the truth is, right now, Pi has no official market value. You can't trade it openly on major exchanges. Despite that, you'll see wild predictions floating around the internet. Some people believe it could hit $1, others dream of $10, and the most optimistic voices throw out numbers in the hundreds. But let's be clear, the final value of Pi will depend entirely on supply and demand once the Open Mainnet launches and real-world trading begins. Until then, everything else is just speculation. That being said, Pi Network remains one of the most interesting experiments in the entire crypto space. Its approach to mobile mining has made cryptocurrency accessible to people who might never have considered getting involved otherwise. You don't need expensive hardware. You don't need to worry about electricity bills. All you need is a smartphone and a few seconds each day to stay active. That simplicity is what has drawn millions into the community. Now, here's what really matters for Pi's future. Two major things to watch closely are Mass KYC, which stands for Know Your Customer, a process that verifies users' identities, and the development of Pi's own ecosystem. KYC ensures that real people, not bots, are participating. And the ecosystem? That's where the long-term value comes from. For Pi to thrive, it can't just be a number on a screen. People need to be able to spend it, use it, trade it, and build apps and services around it. The Pi browser is a big step in that direction, because it allows developers to start creating applications that could eventually run on the Pi blockchain. Imagine being able to buy goods, access services, or even interact in new kinds of decentralized apps, all powered by Pi. At the end of the day, Pi remains a speculative project. It's not a guaranteed win, and like any crypto, there are risks. But it also has a unique and compelling story. Millions of people around the globe are already invested in it, not financially, but with their time and attention. And that's powerful. It costs you nothing but a few seconds of your day to participate, and who knows? Just like those early Bitcoin miners, maybe one day this small action could turn into something much bigger. So whether Pi becomes the next big thing or just another experiment in the long history of cryptocurrency, one thing is clear: it has already changed the conversation. It has shown that crypto can be more inclusive, more accessible, and more community-driven. And that in itself is worth paying attention to.